Okay, so first of all, do you guys know how to find the correct contract? Like if I was to
No.
ask, okay, so you have the wizards. You just click any old wizard, and that's how I use. There's probably more efficient ways, but for me to make sure I have to definitely have the right correction, I go to one of the transactions happened on any of the items in the collection, and I click on this, which opens the transaction hash, every details about that transaction in Etherscan. For those not yet familiar with Etherscan, this is a tool you need to understand. Um, you need to learn how this works, what you can learn from it. Um, just take a look at it if you don't know it already, and any question you have, ask it, post it in general, and I'll post it for next. I'll prepare something for next time because going over every feature is a bit rough. Um, but yeah, so I've gone over this transaction, which was a mint transaction. I can see this token was minted from this address that interacted with this contract, and there we go. I have the wizard contract. Um, Fluff said my mic wasn't close enough. Okay, so what you have here, you can see all the transactions happening on the contract. Eternal transactions you can ignore. Here's ERC20 tokens transactions you can ignore for now. What you really want to see is a contract. Now there's two kinds of ways of reading it. One is going into the actual code, which this is. This is the Wizard's smart contract. As you can see, it's not that much of code because it's based on other um, other files. Um, the famous Azuki ERC 721A, this, which I don't know, and the Open Zeppelin ownable.sol. This is not that important. This is, but I'll come back to that. Here you can see the code, and I'll go through some of the important stuff later in a bit. All the other files are just the files which the end code is based on. It's just referencing this code, but everything on the blockchain has to be in one file. So in the end, on the blockchain itself, it is one file. So this is everything standard. This is all basic thing that's universal of all these ERC 721A contracts. Now, does everyone know what ERC 721 is?
No.
Okay, so,
Yes.
okay, perfect. For those who don't know, this is just the current NFT standards. Well, one of the two big ones. The other one is ERC 1150, which is, for example, our critter passes, where you have many, um, well, fungible tokens actually. So it's not actually an NFT. NFT, of course, non-fungible token. ERC 1155 is fungible. That means one critter pass is exactly the same as any other critter pass. Um, so that's the difference between those two. All these PFP collections, these are all ERC 721s, which means every token should have something unique. And this is most of the time is reflected in the metadata. So token ID 1 is different from token ID 2. In almost all the cases, this means a different PFP, or different stats, or different return value when you stake it. Anything as long as there's a small difference there. So Azuki came and made a new standard for this, Why all developers use a standard? This is because if someone wants to create a new marketplace, they just have to make sure they support a standard. So all these collections can be imported in that new marketplace. So this is a two-way street. I know my collection will be supported in any new marketplace, and the new marketplace knows they don't have to make any adaptations to import a new collection. This is why we're using a standard. And before January, most people were using an old standard, the ERC 721 enumerable, which was not gas efficient. And then lots of people found ways to make it more gas efficient. I had my ways, Azuki had their ways, which both have their benefits, their pros and cons. I'm not here to discuss that. But again, you can see there's all different variations, but they all start with this. Now, why is this long explanation necessary? Because this is the first thing you can check. Is this a contract I want to mint from? Yes or no? This is pretty readable even if you're not a developer. A contract, you all know what a smart contract is. With NFT is just a name. Is, if you know English you can read is. It's ownable. It's pretty self-explanatory. It means someone owns this contract. And it is ERC 721A, which means it is an NFT collection. Now, why is this the first check for security? A lot of these quick scam contracts are don't even support the standard, because you're not getting a token. You're just, the mint button just gives a money transfer, or they're money draining, wallet draining, anything like that. So that's why it's important that you check. This is the first thing you check. This does not mean, if it has this, that it's a secure contract. This is just the first step you have to check. After that, there's other things to check, but I'll come back to that, because I kinda got way off base. Now, for those who can read codes, who are not developers, there's an easier way to read parts of the contract. You can see the read contract. This means this is all things you can read off the contract, like getting the data without having to pay gas for it. So you can see the balance off. I can enter any address and I can see, oh, how many tokens does this address hold here? Is the public sale active? This is also beneficial if you want to mint from the contract. This is not universal, this can be named anything else. I'll open let's open the Cranky Critters contract. For the Cranky Critters, our contract is placed in Discord as well, so I don't have to go through this way, but so you can see this is why I do all this. Ah wait, I picked the wrong contract. I used OpenSea Wyvern Exchange. Sorry. Yes. So for the Cranky Critters, the same boolean was called is public sale active, and for the wizards it's called is public sale. So as you can see, if you can deduce a lot of this by just going through the names. You can see the max per wallet, which is important if you want to see if you want to mint from the contract, so you don't try to mint two. You see the max token supply, always beneficial. You can see the total supply. Why is this important? This is because if you want to mint from the contract, you'll want to know, is it already sold out or isn't it, or is it close to getting sold out? That's why total supply is very handy. Token URI. This is very handy, but this I can't really show because I don't have the. Oh, this I can show. Cool. So the wizards aren't hosting on IPFS; they are hosting on their own server. So I can pick any token ID, and I get the metadata here, which is just a link. It's always a link. And when you click the link, you can get the metadata. And in the metadata, there's always the image and the traits, of course. Fair warning, I'm not a good teacher. I'm not familiar with how giving it like a structured class. So I'm just spewing information all over you guys. This is why I need feedback and questions so I can prepare like a solid uh, presentation.
If
Now,
they
yeah, go
if
ahead.
they host their if they host they don't host on IPS, that means they can change it, right? Because if you host on IPS, it's unchangeable, correct?
Yes and no. Because we, the Cranky Critters, um, host on IPFS, but I can, if you go look at the right contract, you can see I can set the base URI. This is called something else in every contract, but I can still adapt my metadata. I can't adapt the file on IPFS, that's true, but I can change the link. So I can make it go to a different link. Does that difference make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So it's not because it's IPFS that it's secure. The only thing is I can never remove those files. Um, so if you remember the link, you can always find your file there, not with the server. If it's hosted on their own server, they can take the file away if they want. You will always be able to find your Cranky Critter metadata on that link. But of course, if I change the metadata, your token will refer to a new link, and yeah, if you don't remember the old link, there's no way to getting that data back. Freezing the actual metadata means disabling this function. Why we don't want to do this is because we might still want to be able to adapt our metadata. This is a risk factor as an investor. This requires a bit of trust from you guys to us, that we don't just replace all the critters with like shitty images. Um, but yeah, we've been upfront about this, why we don't do this in one of our first town halls. This is because we want to keep the opportunity open to make adaptations. Um, Back then I was still really invested in the space parkers, for example, and they had the whole quantum metadata, and they wanted to. We were in talks of maybe including that for the critters, but to be able to do that, I had to be able to change the metadata. So this requires a bit of trust from you guys to us. But yeah, to be honest, I think most projects have this thing still open. Um, So this actually has opened it to my next point. If you go to the right contract, you can see things happening. And this is how you could have seen that the wizards were planning something burnable. You had the altar. Sure, you could not know what the altar does, but a couple of lines down you see burn from altar. So you know something burning was coming. Um, mint from altar, I'm not sure what it is yet, because I hold a wizard, but I'm not really involved in their community. Um, Other than that, not a lot of secrets coming in this contract. Of course, they can still add features from a different contract, but Me, before I bought a wizard, I went over the contract. I saw burning from altar and adding an altar. So I saw, okay, they have a plan. They might not execute it on it because there wasn't a lot of information, but at least there's something in the contract, which means this isn't just a cash grab. They thought about it. They have a plan. It's gonna be interesting. That's why I decided, okay, I'm gonna buy a wizard, and I was not disappointed. It was not what I expected at all. But yeah, very very interesting. Now, if we go into the actual code, that's a step, um, a level more deeper in the code. Um, there's some things you can read here if you don't know code. Like this, you can ignore. Public means you can read it outside, but even if it's private, you can just read the text. Um, this is too complicated. Okay, so most of these NFT contracts will have a mint function, or a couple of mint functions. This is more a safety thing than a wizard's thing, but it is a good example. Some things you have to check to see, is it actually going to mint something for me, or am I getting scammed? What you should always see in a mint function is this underscore safe mint. Especially if it's one of these. If it's a separate contract, this could have a different name. If that's the case, you'll need a developer because he'll need to go dig deep in the code to see if it pans out. If it's ERC 721 or 721A, it will have either underscore mint or underscore safe mint. I will go through this function for you guys and I'll see what this does. So say I'm not a developer and I want to mint either from the site or from the contract, but it's a bit sketchy. So what can I see in the mint function? You can see it requires call data proof, which means you cannot mint from the contract. This is something that a website adds to every call to make sure nobody is minting from the contract. So again, that's a good call. Means the developers did some work and are not looking for a quick cash grab. Why add something extra if you're just going for the cash grab? Payable means this is a function you can only call by paying the correct amount. And then you often see these require functions. This means this is something that has to be fulfilled or the call will be refused. So the total supply plus 1 must be smaller or equal than the max token supply. Basically, you don't want to read this. If you can read this, no worries, because there's always an error message combined. So you can see, oh yeah, so they check if you cannot exceed total supply. We check if there's a valid proof. Again, the proof means the call is coming from the website. They're checking if the sale has started. They're checking if the max mint per wallet isn't exceeded, or they're checking if I've paid enough ETH. So you can see all this with the green text. This means all the checks they're doing on their side for security. If you see no checks, run. Because if they're not checking, they just want money and they don't care. Then, this might seem complex, but this is just setting a counter to see how much you've minted. This is not important if you just want to know if it's safe. Again, I'm not here to teach you how to code or how to read an entire contract. I'm just telling you what are the green flags and what are the red flags. So we can see 2 lines of code. That's good, because minting isn't that complex. It's just calling the safe mint. And why do I know the safe mint is safe to use? Because it's using ERC 721A. So that has all this with little developer knowledge told me they're using the proper standard. They're showing some green flags by doing a lot of checks and by using proof so you can mint from the contract. And there isn't a lot of code, so there's nothing fishy going on. This is something you always want to check as well. That is approved for all. Is approved for all is how you give other contracts or other people access to your tokens. And this is per contract. So your setting is approved for all. If you see this, should always be a red flag. Not if you see it in a contract, but if you're signing something that's saying is approved for all, that's a red flag unless you're staking a token or selling a token or transferring a token. If you're not supposed to be transferring your token or giving a marketplace access to your token and you see is approved for all, run and report it to us so we can set a warning for other people. But what sorry about that. What some contracts do, they set it to automatically true for the OpenSea registry, which means you know how you when you want to sell something from a new collection for the first time, you have to like set approval for that. That's this. They just include in their contracts that OpenSea always has the right to do something with your tokens. If you don't want that, you can see that here. If you say, yeah, I don't trust OpenSea, so I'm not minting this project. So always good if you see is approved for all in a contract, this and the mint function, these are the only 2 functions you should read as a non-developer. For safety. If you want to know if the contract's interesting, that's something else, but I can't go that deep. I'm back to the safety issues right now.
Rune, quick question here.
Yes.
Right where what like the cursor one up, they have the function if altar of sacrifice operator blah blah return true. So that's actually the function where they set it that they can burn the token then, because this is approved for all. Is this the right conclusion?
I'll have to check because I don't know what altar of sacrifice is. So I can see here.
Just let's suppose that's the burning function where they have the altar and they send the stuff in. There you have the.
I'll go over what this does. This might get a bit technical, but since you ask, I'm going over it. So, altar of sacrifice, what is that? I can go see in the code where it's declared. It's a mapping of an address to a bool. An address is like an ETH address, like all of our wallets have, or a contract has. And this address, this address, no, this address, yes, and so on. It's just a list of those addresses. And it says if the address of the operator, so the one calling it, is the altar of sacrifice, then it's true. So it means that addresses that are in this list set to true have the rights to transfer your tokens.
So that's the function that allowed them to have the burning mechanism, right?
Not 100% sure because I don't know where this is set. For that, I have to go deeper into the code.
Okay. But
Um,
with this one, they
yeah.
said it's approved for all, so that made up that opened the possibility to do it, because that's set approved for all, right?
Not sure, because approved for all means transferring. I can. Oh yeah, yeah. I think so. Yeah. Because burning means transferring to the 0 address.
Right.
Yeah. So that's probably it. Yes. So yeah,
Okay.
if you had gone over this code, the 2 functions to check, you could have seen there was something fishy.
I see. Got it.
But now I'm checking where they're setting alters. Burn from alter. Public only alters. Oh, that's so cool. Sorry, I'm falling in love with their contract. So this means only alters can call this. So what is an alter? I feel like I'm missing another contract for this to work entirely, and this is not the most. Aha, okay. So only the owners, only owner. This means that's also something good to know. Only the owner of the contract can call. So for the Cranky Critters, that's me. It's mostly the deployer or the main dev that is the owner. So they could decide which addresses could burn. You know what? I'm gonna go over this whole contract because there's something missing, and I don't want to bore you guys by me looking at it for 20 minutes till I find it. If there's interest in it, how this burning mechanic works, let me know and I'll go over it and prepare something for next week. I'll talk to Dr. Yu because he knows the mechanics from a user perspective, and we can prepare something if that's something that interests you. For now, what's important, always check if the is approved for all function is there. If it's there and there's a lot of code, there's something fishy going on. Doesn't mean something bad, but something you should know about. And the other thing was always check the mint, but I've gone over. Let me check my notes, what I prepared. So far, is everything clear? Feel free to type in general if it isn't, because it feels like I'm talking to a wall.
I have another question, Rune.
Go ahead, Bernard.
This set approved for all.
Yeah.
You said it's contract specific. So if I see this and I sign it, does it really give the contract access to all my assets in my wallet?
No.
Or do these assets have to be specifically mentioned in the contract itself?
Yeah. This only gives you access to your wizard's assets. But you can sign.
But if you have like this draining stuff that's
Yeah.
happening all the time, like last weekend with the Sea Raiders again.
Mm-hmm.
So they like when they go for the Bored Apes and the mutants and stuff, they would have written it in the contract, right?
Yeah. They could have like let's say I should have gone over the Sea Raiders contract. I'll give an example. I'm not sure if it's still up. If anyone can find me that contract, I'll go over it while I explain something in here. So when you mint from a website in MetaMask, you can always see the function you're calling. And you can look up that function in the contract. This is something you should always do if you're not sure about a project, and definitely if you're not using a burner wallet. But then again, why are you minting without a burner wallet? So always look it up. and if you look it up and you see in the mint function set approval for all, run. Because they could have like 20 lines, set approval for Bored Ape, set approval for Cool Cat, set approval for Azuki, and that's how, and set approval for ETH, so they can drain your ETH as well, and your Bitcoin and whatever you have all in that wallet. So it doesn't have to be NFTs, you can set approval for regular ERC20 tokens as well.
But that has to be stated in the contract under the mint function, like as you said.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be the mint function. For example, it could say here set some stuff, which can go to a function over here, and set some stuff function could have all the set approvals.
I see. Okay.
So just to be safe, what you can always do is just press Ctrl F and search for set approval.
Got it.
But yeah, there's still ways you can go around that, like having your contract call a different contract. But then we're getting in the heavier stuff, and for that you actually going to need to be a developer at some point to follow the chain of contract. Because all the good projects have their contract verified on OpenSea, Etherscan, sorry. You get a green check mark. So you can read the code. But this can call a contract that isn't verified. If you see that, you don't have to run per se. But yeah, check with a developer at that point. Or use the burner wallet again. Those are some red flags. Again, it doesn't have to be a red flag. For me, I had the whitelists, well, not or approval lists functionality in a separate contract, and I don't think that contract is verified. So actually, our minting does call a contract that you can check the code of. I was still so young and new back then. Now I know to make sure I verify all my code so everyone can read everything, so there's no question marks. How you can see that, let me check it out if I can show you on our contract. So I have I've made it handy for people not reading code to see I'm using external contracts. So BR address, you could so the same thing as a wizard. Even if you don't know anything about the critters, we were pretty upfront about the battle royale. But people, if you weren't, you could see, oh, there's some BR. Maybe it's something burning, so ooh, there might be a burning mechanic coming up. And you can see I'm using an I allow list, which in here says, oh, so that's an extra function that's saying is allowed. So that's all you know about how I'm what I'm doing with the external contract. So that's not a lot. You can see it's a view, but now we're getting really technical for non-developers, which means you're not writing anything away, so you're not writing, giving people approval, you're not spending extra money. It's so if you see an external call and you can't access the code and you see this, it's safe. But yeah, now I'm getting very technical. At this point, it's better to ask a dev if you want to make sure. Oh shit, it's already been an hour. Of course, I started about 20 minutes late, I think. Okay, 3-minute break while I ask Fluff if I can go over time. Sure? Okay, I can go over time for a little bit, if you guys are still interested.
Rune, there was an interesting question from Tiny in the chat. Like, is it completely safe to look at the contracts and click the links there? And I suppose as long as your wallet is not connected, it's totally fine, right?
Where is that question?
In the chat, in the general chat.
Am I looking completely over?
Might be in the videos chat, like this stream chat, not general.
Yeah, that's the general video chat, stream chat.
Wait, Fluffy's running. Oh my god! A whole new world. Oh, okay, I'm answering all these questions right now. So, Doctor, no, we're not on the same. We are on the same internet, but for some reason, my PC, which is just 2 meters further from the Wi-Fi router, is not getting good enough connection. How do you start to read a contract? What are you looking for from a security perspective? I feel like I answered that, right, Bernard?
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
Okay, Bobfell asks, I was curious how you can see in a contract about gas. Is there an optimal number to mint to get the lowest gas, etc.? And I can't hear anything right now. I'm having issues, man. So, yes and no. What you can see about gas is, so everything you write to the blockchain costs gas. So if you see a lot of code, which is writing a lot of stuff, it's gonna cost more gas than usual. But then again, they're all calling these functions that are referenced in different contracts. So yeah, no, I wouldn't go into a contract to see if it's gas efficient or not. What you can see is if it's using ERC721 enumerable. I'll type it in the chat. C721. That's a red flag. That's an old system. There's no way necessary to still use that. That's going to be expensive to mint. So for the Cranky Critters we have ERC721, and most contracts use ERC721A, which is the Azuki standard. If they use the A, the Azuki standard, that's optimized for minting more than one. The Cranky Critters one is optimized for minting 1 or 2. So 1 or 2 will be cheaper for Cranky Critters. 3 or more will be cheaper for Azuki, for minting more. The Azuki standard will be cheaper. But they have some other downsides. But this is getting technical. You'll pay more when you need to transfer them, or when you're buying them from secondary. This is why I'm not using the Azuki standard and using my own standard, because it feels like the gas, you still pay the extra gas, it's just different people paying it for it. So yeah, that's another debate. So, is there an optimal number to mint to get the lowest gas? That depends on the contract. If you see the ERC721A, it's optimized to mint as much as possible. So you're not gonna pay a lot more to minting 3 compared to minting 2. It's gonna look ridiculous. Even for 10, you're not paying just a tad more than minting 2. Because it's optimized for minting blocks of tokens and not just tokens. Okay, Tiny is found in the wrong room. Bernard, is set approval really for all assets in my wallet? Okay, I answered that. Okay, what's the difference between the kinds of tokens? ERC20 is crypto. Of course, all of this is crypto, but to make it easy, ERC20 is ETH, Link, Doge, Sand, whatever coin you can think of. If it's a coin, it's ERC20 probably. It's just a standard of coins running on the Ethereum network. ERC721 are the real non-fungible tokens, the one-of-ones, the PFP collections, and the ERC1150s or 55s are like the passes or Arno's collection. For those of you who know Arno Kiss, exists of the ERC1155s because they have multiples of one NFT. There's 25 people holding the Butcher or whatever one of his works is called. So those are actually fungible tokens. There's more than that, but those are the three big ones used. When you stake an NFT, it often or always says requires set approval for all. Why is that? Because you give the staking contract approval to transfer your tokens. Which means if you want to stake it, you have to transfer it to a contract, but you have to give approval to do that. Because you also have to give approval for that token to be transferred back to you. That's why it says that. So set approval for all, good for staking, good for OpenSea marketplaces, or some other transfer function I'm not thinking about now, but it should always raise a red flag if you're not expecting it. Okay. Then the interesting question by Tiny: is it completely safe to look at the contracts and click the links here? I don't know what you mean with links. Do you mean here on Etherscan, like these links? These are completely safe. Once you get in here, we get into the danger zone. Because here you have to connect to your wallet. Let me see. So in the stream now MetaMask isn't shown, right?
No, it isn't.
Okay, perfect. Don't wanna show Fluff's wallet. So once you connect your wallet, you can write to the contract, and then you're just interacting with the blockchain, and that's where all the danger starts. But yeah, other than that, all these links is just information. You can click on everything you want. As long as your wallet isn't connected, they can't access your wallet. Of course, never click on ads, because you never know. But yeah, Etherscan, pretty safe. If you see a file downloaded, run away. You might not be on the actual Etherscan. There have been fake Etherscans, by the way, so always make sure you're on etherscan.io. If you're on etherscan.com, you're on a scam site, and it's not safe to click links. But yeah, that's true for every major website in the space. Making sure you're on the right one. Okay. Yeah, and as Bernard said, as long as your wallet is not connected, you should be safe. That is. Okay, I handled all the questions in the chat. Sorry for me ignoring them for so long. I wanted to teach you guys how to mint from a contract, but for that I need to be able to show my MetaMask. And I needed the special tool that's on my PC but not on Fluff's PC, so I'm thinking of keeping that for next time if that's okay for you.
Or maybe you want to make a video, like then you can do it in your time and with your tools, and just put it into chat.
Sure, but if I make a video, it's not clear.
Okay.
If it's understandable for everyone, because I'm a dev, I'm very technical, and I go over things really fast. I need this feedback. I've made some videos with Nature before, and he could always tell me no, that's not clear for a non-developer. So I might make one with Nature, we'll see which can happen fast. Me and nature working together, or me setting up another one of these sessions.
Awesome.
Yeah, Dr. Yu, I saw you posted like a question in the real general chat, but I'm not sure if that was just chatting in general or if that was related to this talk.
Which question is it?
I have someone who wants to buy 2 NFTs from me. Both are floor price of 0.1 and they want to buy for 1.3.
Oh yeah, that's ongoing. I'm still actively trying to figure out if he's trying to scam me or he just wants to give me money.
Huh. So yeah, if you made the bundle, it's... Wait.
Yeah, I made a bundle and it's publicly listed. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out. I don't know. He hasn't. Yeah, I don't know. He's chatting back and forth.
Oh, so he's chatting with you. Okay, yeah. In that
Yeah,
case, yeah, be careful.
Oh no, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like treading very lightly.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit suspicious, but yeah. Once he starts with like, can you list him on this site instead of OpenSea, then it's probably a scam. Okay. I think I might call it here and do the mint from website either in the video or in next session. Hope you guys found it both interesting and clear, because I know I can get too technical and too random and too all over the place. Yeah, please feel free to let me know. Don't worry about hurting my feelings. I can take it. I've been hearing it all my life.
I would love to be able to hurt your feelings, but this was really good. So
Okay,
I can't this time. I'm sorry.
Okay, perfect.
No, it was really good. Like, it answered a lot of my questions. So thanks a lot for that, Rune.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Okay, guys. I'm stopping the recording.